the two signings in baseball the last 3 days are, listen, I like one especially. That's Hosmer. He, of course, he's sort of almost like a little latter-day Keith Hernandez. Spread the ball around a little bit in the infield, hit the ball in the outfield, hit the ball in the gaps. Not a huge RBI guy necessarily, not a huge home run guy necessarily, but a good defensive first baseman. He's won 3 or 4 Gold Gloves, and he's an intangible player. He's not as good as Hernandez, but, he's that kind of guy. Left-hand hitter, like Keith was. So, and Hosmer signs a 8-year deal with San Diego for $144 million, leaves the Royals. I thought it was the right move for Hosmer. I think it's the right move for the Padres, and I'm going to have a major problem with the finances of it. He got a 5-year, think of it this way, he got 5 years, $100 million. With a $5 million signing bonus. And that's essentially what he got. He got 5 years, $100 million with the $5 million signing bonus. And then, of course, he has the opt-out after 5 years. And if he plays poorly, he'll stay and he'll opt in. And if that's the case, San Diego's only on the hook for $39 million in the last 3 years of the contract, which for San Diego is significant money, but it's not impossible. And if he opts out, San Diego says to themselves, you know what, we got 5 great years out of Hosmer. He's 33 years of age. We can live with it. We got the guts of his career played for us, and, we got a lot out of him, and if he decides to go somewhere else, he goes somewhere else. So, I think the Padres said to themselves, the average salary is only $21 million a year. It's good money, don't get me wrong. It's more than they're paying Will Myers. It is the biggest contract in the history of the Padre franchise, so I don't want to make light of it, but it's not like $200 million. It's not ridiculous. It's relatively, it's reasonable. And one thing about Scott Boras that Scott Boras, he can talk what he wants about bringing binders to the meetings and, my player is worth this and my player is worth that. One thing about Scott Boras isn't an idiot. And he sees the tea leaves, and he knew that there was not another big offer out there for Hosmer, so he's going to have to take what he could have gotten. He could have stayed with Kansas City, maybe slightly more money, but I think for Hosmer, getting out of Kansas City, he won a championship there. He played in 2 World Series there. He got big hits there. He brought baseball back in the Midwest. There's not a lot, he and a bunch of other players, there's not a lot he's going to do in Kansas City anymore. Why not try something different? San Diego's a franchise that's on the come. San Diego's got a lot of players who are, big-time, huge players down the road who are going to be, they're youthful. They got pitching in Double-A. They got a lot of they spent $100 million with their international money. So this is a team that has got more talent on the come than you would realize if you're not following, the minor leagues and the Padre organization and everything else. So I think this is a good move for San Diego. Myers will go play the outfield now. Hosmer's got a little intangible ability too. He's a leader. He's only 28 years of age as we speak. I thought overall that was a good move for him, and that was a good move for the Padres. So I think that is signing number 1 over the weekend that I like. Signing number 2, I'm not as necessarily in love with, although the Red Sox did not budge. And the Red Sox, from a standpoint of negotiation, 5 years, $120-something million or thereabouts, $115 million, I think it was, to J.D. Martinez. He, of course, late of Arizona and the Tigers. He that told us a couple weeks ago, bopping down West Palm Beach and Boca, that he was never going to sign the Red Sox because they wouldn't budge off the $100 million figure, and he didn't want to be a DH anyway, but he realized, and he saw the tea leaves on the wall as well. Arizona wanted nothing to do with him for that price tag. They got Goldschmidt up for free agency in a couple of years. They got to get him signed. It's after next year. The Giants brought Longoria in and made a trade for McCutchen, so they weren't going to go there either. Luxury cap issues for San Francisco. So where was a guy like Martinez going to end up? This is a guy that has not played a lot of games in his career. He's only had 2 years. Really, he's played more than 140 games. Now, he has been productive. Don't get me wrong. When he plays, he does a nice job. If you look at J.D. Martinez in 2014, he only played 123 games, but he hit 23 homers in that 123. In 2015, he had an excellent year. He hit 280 with 38 homers in 158 games. 2016, 2017, he didn't play a lot. Now, last year in 120 games, he hit 45 homers in a bandbox, but he hit 45 homers in 2016. He played 120 games and hit 307. So if he can get get him out there, he'd do a decent job. Now, he's going to DH in Boston. I think he wanted to be an outfielder, but he's not going to be an outfielder for the Red Sox with Benintendi out there, Jackie Bradley out there, and obviously Betts out there. So, and he has first baseman Ramirez who'll play first base. So he's going to have to DH, which I don't think he wanted to do. But again, he saw the handwriting on the wall, and he said 5 years, 110, $50 million guaranteed for his 2 years. I better run to take this when it's still on the table before we get too late into spring training. So J.D. Martinez signs with the Red Sox in the last 24 hours. Now, the Red Sox last year were, very low in home runs. I don't know if they were last in the league, but they were way down there in the American League with home runs. They were sixth in runs scored. So it didn't necessarily translate to a lousy offense, and they did win the division, and they did hit 5 home runs against Houston in the playoffs. So this is not like everybody talks about their lack of home run power since Big Papi left, but it didn't seem to affect them too much. They still played pretty well, where in fact they, they won 93 games. They won a playoff game this year, which they did not do a year ago. So it's not the end of the world that they needed a home run hitter, but with Stanton with the Yankees and all the buzz down in New York, maybe they thought it was necessary to bring in Martinez. They kept that offer on the table, and he finally came to his senses, and he realized that there was not going to be anything else out there that was bigger. The Red Sox knew bidding against themselves was stupid. So 5 years, 110 for J.D. Martinez with Boston. Those are your 2 big signings in the last couple of days. Maybe Arrieta is next. 22 after the hour. Get your calls in here on Mad Dog Unleashed.